we're going into one of my favorite things to do in Raid Shadow Legends, which is fusion events. I like the journey, I like the process. I also like the challenge because they're not easy. They do require a lot of diligence and daily gameplay and actually some strategic planning to get through it. Now, I was not going to go after this guy, mostly because most of his kit is tied up around Packmaster Shayak. They said that we'll have access into some sort of event to get the Packmaster Shayak. Most people are thinking that there's going to be some sort of tightened event at the end. They said there would be an event for the perfect souls on this guy to get the 5 perfect souls. I'm thinking that there is a possibility of 3 different types of events, where there's the path one, hero's path, which is kind of like the left, right, go down the middle, whatever. Then there was also the deck of fates, which I don't like, and then the Titan event. And most people are predicting a Titan event of some kind down here. Now, this is a fusion event, so we're looking forward to collecting fusions. We got to get 100 shards, and there's a total of 130 shards. I'm in the way here. However, this is not entirely accurate because some of them are tied to champion training events, and right here, champion chase event. So that kind of takes away 20 out of the 130 because I don't know how that's going to play out. But there's 110, and that means I can skip 1, or not 1, but 10 shards from some of the events. Now, before we get into some of the details on what I'm thinking about, if you haven't done so already, click the link in the description, and you'll be essentially starting off your journey right with 3 legendaries and 3 epics. There's 3 champions I want to draw your attention to in this list here. Ugo, the first one that you get at level 10. Then at level 40, Deacon Armstrong, amazing. And then lastly, promo code Monkey King, which you have to use in the first 24 hours to get the legendary Sun Wukong. And then not shown on the screen there is a 7-day login champion, Lemonisi. So, couple things to keep in mind is this is just the first of the 3 events that I'm going to be going out of. There's going to be probably an event for the 5 perfect soul, and there's going to be some sort of event for the other character, his companion. So this is going to be challenging, and generally the part that is going to be the most stressful in going to these events is going to be the dungeon divers. I always seem to struggle there. And then the amount of currency to finish the summon rush or the champion chase. And that, I believe, is the correct way to view these sacred shards. Now, I have an abundance because a lot of these events require 6 or 12 or 5 to 11, depending on how it plays out. But this is where a free-to-play player or even a spender like myself will run into trouble, is that, you know, I go crazy when there's a 2x event of some kind, and then I don't have an abundance. Now, throughout this event, there is a prediction that we're going to have a double void shards. So I want to draw your attention to where that might be, but it's going to be somewhere back here in the second week of August. On the weekend here is when the community is predicting that there's going to be a 2x void shard. So I will be saving my void shards for this champion chase tournament somewhere down there. Now, let's start at the beginning. We're going into the events that'll be starting later today. Today's Monday morning here in the United States, and later today, the events will start. But we're also going into CVC and clan versus clan. And this is the one that I really like. Clan versus clan with the personal rewards. And the personal rewards are the ones that, if you win, you get a bunch of bonus stuff, and these alternate every other week. And one of them is the normal one, and one is the personal reward. So basically, this is a once a month event. So even though this right here starts at server reset, which is 5 o'clock Pacific time, my time at 5 o'clock, I don't really want to jump into this until the CVC starts. So Dragon Tournament, which is going to line up with the Dungeon Divers. And then you got Ice Golem, which is going to line up with the Dungeon Divers as well. So I really don't even want to do any of these Dungeon Divers, right? or any of these dragon ones until the dungeon divers. Now, I think there's two ways to approach all of these tournaments right here, like dragon and ice golem: hard 10 or normal 20. So normal 20 will give the most efficient amount of points per energy. However, hard 10 is just going to give much better artifacts. Like if you're in a position where you're going to sell 100% of the artifacts and you're not looking for artifacts, like an extreme in-game player, well, there's that. That's not where I'm at right now. I can do hard 10. A lot of people can't do hard 10, and they're just in. Then probably the suggestion is to do like normal 20, because that's going to give the most amount of event points per energy. But I'm looking for mythical artifacts. I absolutely am in get good artifacts mode right now. Dragon does have the speed artifacts, which where I'm at, I could always use more speed artifacts. And yeah, I'm going to do hard 10. Now, there is this concept also, right? I go into dragon and I use my 5 dragon champions. What I'm going to be doing, and probably my next video, is going to be about how do I go through dragon with the least number of champions that can finish hard 10 with 3 food champions, so that I can collect champion training points and be farming up characters and getting experience on characters that I'm going to use as food. This game has blown my mind so many times on how something as simple as Dragon Tournament has turned into, all right, normal mode required a certain team, and it's like, okay, and that was hard, and I finally get to then hard, it's got different mechanics and I got to build a new team. Okay, now that I've gotten to hard 10 and I can finish it consistently, all right, now it's time to build a team that's faster, that does it in the least number of turns. Oh, now I want to do it with the least number of characters and use the rest for food. There's so much depth with the simple dungeon as dragon. Like, I effectively have gone like several different phases. Now I've come to a phase where I'm trying to maybe find a solo champion or a 2-man team and then use 3 food. I don't know if I can do that, and that's going to be a journey and something new to appreciate here at Raid Shadow Legends. I feel like there's always something to do. Also, once CVC has started, Champion Training Event will start, and I am personally trying to move away from doing, what is that, Campaign 12-3, which is the most efficient way in the campaign mode of getting experience to silver ratio. I'm really trying to focus using brews as much as possible. And the thinking there is gems in this game, which you can see I have 3,600, can be used for an assortment of things, where brews can only be used to develop up champions. So I'm really trying to get as much of that out of, for this like champion training event, is brews. And I'm trying to move away from campaign farming because that requires gems, and I can use gems elsewhere. But brews can only be used to level up characters. So that's a thing, right? Absolutely a thing. Dungeon divers is a pain. Typically, it's a total amount of energy, and I'm just going to loosely say, like doing hard 10s, about 5,500. If I'm doing normal 20, it's about 5,000 energy, and that's going to be split up between the Dragon Tournament and the Ice Golem Tournament. Now, that will not be enough. Like, I'll be able to max out the Dragon Tournament, max out the Ice Golem Tournament, and that still won't be enough for the Dungeon Divers. And so I'm going to have to do something extra, and that might come from the champion training event in the campaign, right? And then also, I'm going to be put in a situation where there's not going to be a lot of time to finish off the Dungeon Divers when the Ice Golem starts. And so that's going to be a consideration there, is how can I get through that? Because I think I'm going to have to bang out like 2,200 energy very quickly to finish off the Dungeon Divers. Okay, gear enhancement. There's 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, and generally those anywhere from 15 to 25 million, an average of 20 million silver. And even though I don't have a lot right here, I do have millions that I can sell off right now in my inventory. So that's going to be something I'm going to be doing here shortly, is, you know, selling off. You know, you see I got nearly max. I'm going to have a ton that are not useful. Several hundred of these I don't want to keep. I'm going to be selling those off, and I will be able to fund that. In addition, most of that 20 million will come from the Dragon Tournament and the Ice Golem. So I think I'll be okay. Most people have said to me, as long as you start off with 5 million or so, which I do have a deficiency, but if I sell all that stuff off, I probably have 8 to 10 million. Then I'll be able to go on the gear enhancement event. And again, I want to do as much of that inside of the CVC as possible to get the clan versus clan points. All right, classic arena takedown. That is so simple, no brainer. Summon rush. This is going to be a function of the number of sacred shards. So there's going to be a total of 15, and so that'll be staggered out in different parts. And you can actually see some of this in, well, how do you say? This is only in the Plarium app. So like this is the Plarium app, and I hit the event tab. And so I don't know if this is going to load right now. Well, let's see here. I don't think we can go that far ahead. Let's see if we can see where it is. So this is the Summon Rush event. All right, well, we can't see the details on that yet, but this is going to give a total of what, 15 points right here. And so the estimates I'm seeing is that probably for the first part, maybe 6, and then to get to the second part would be another 6, maybe a total of 12. I'm willing to spend sacred shards to get through that. And you also can use ancients and voids and primals. That's fine, but I'm gonna try to save the voids for the 2x void part that people are expecting here and the weekend of the 9th and the 10th. Great. Summon Rush. I feel like a lot of people find that this is the most stressful part, and that's going to depend on the number of sacreds you have available to you. There's also some speculation that maybe on the Saturday and the Sunday, and maybe that's going to something to wait for, is the weekend, they may run some sort of double mythical for primals. We'll have to see if that happens. Then this is where it's going to get tricky for me and kind of annoying, is that Dungeon Diver's fine. You know, hopefully I've flushed through 20 million there, flushed through another 20 million there. We'll see how that works out. And then we're going into another gear enhancement event, which looks like there's just the spider tournament. So I can do the whole 5,500 energy in the spider tournament, which will more than max out the spider tournament. Also, the event dungeon, the Corrosa event dungeon, there may see some event dungeon, which I don't like that Corrosa event dungeon. I find it very hard and very random. It's been one of the more frustrating event dungeons I've ever played in. But there might be some overlap with some other events. Because there are probably going to be other events going on during this that are not shown on the calendar. Other events that are not tied to this calendar specifically. We'll have to see. Spider tournament. All right, so that's kind of annoying. Like, I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with, you know, for this other part of the Dungeon Divers, because, you know, I'm gonna need 5,500, and maybe the spider tournament will cap out at 2,500 energy. I mean, it's gonna be I feel like the spider, maxing out the spider tournament is only gonna give me like half of the points needed for that second Dungeon Diver. Then there's a little bit of a break in here. Another Dungeon Diver starts, but this is going to have part of the spider. But again, I think I'm going to be maxed out on the spider from this other Dungeon Diver. And then we've got a Fire Knight. And again, going to have to find something to do. I don't particularly like the Fire Knight either. I can't do hard 10. In fact, that's the last dungeon. Pretty much can do like Sand Devil 25, Shogun 25, and then I can do hard 10 on all of them, which would be like Dragon, Ice Golem, Spider. But Fire Knight, I can only do like 8. I can't do 10. So we'll get there. Champion Chase. So again, Sacred Shards. Probably going to be Void Shards right there. Arena is the easiest part. And then the last gear enhancement, another 20 million. So The general expectation is that there's going to be some overlap here with a Titan event, which will have its own schedule, but the idea is maybe some of the Titan events will overlap there towards the end. It's basically like putting two of these back to back and extends the process. And then there's also expected to be a Hero's Path or a Deck of Fates, which I don't like. I'm expecting, for me, wanting to do all three, not only get Throat Ripper, get his married pair, even though it's not a male-female thing, but the game has a lot of pairs. The pair to him is the Packmaster, and he pretty much is going to dominate in Hydra when they're paired up together. So there's going to be some sort of event for him, not disclosed yet. Then there's going to be some sort of event for the 5 red Perfect Soul, not disclosed yet. And tackling all three, I imagine, is going to be challenging, and we're going to just make a best effort. It's going to be a journey. It's going to be a journey. Also, I need to give a shout out to my favorite guy, Boozer. This has been my go-to YouTuber for this type of stuff. A lot of the stuff in this video I got because I watched this video before. What I like about Boozer, let me switch over to the other side of the screen. What I like about Boozer is that he is free to play, very much a min-maxer. And what I mean by that is he's a free-to-play player. He has done insanely well, has a monstrous account, can compete with anybody in the game because he's efficient with his resources, and I really value that. Not only is he efficient with his gameplay, he's super efficient with his videos. He gets right into it. There's not a lot of hi, how you doing? I hope you have your nice day. He's just right into the information. He's min-maxing your video experience as well, which I appreciate. I feel like my time there is well spent whenever I'm watching a Boozer video. Link to his video will be in the description. If you haven't done so already, click the link in the description. 3 legendaries are available for you to start right out of the gate. One of them you get by using the link. You'll get not only Corrado, but 3 epics. The 2 of the epics are over the top good. That would be Ugo and Deacon Armstrong. Then, in the first 24 hours, use promo code Monkey King to get Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong, Deacon, and Ugo will carry you through so many parts of the game. I use those 3 champions on a weekly basis all the time. And then lastly, there is a 7-day login that's running right now for Lemonisi. Bye for now.